Thank you to Compulsion Games and Xbox Game Studios for providing me the game to make this review possible. South of Midnight is the latest action-adventure game to hit the market, and it is developed by Compulsion Games and published by Xbox Game Studios. Coming hot off the heels of the positively received Avowed from Obsidian Entertainment, Compulsion Games decided that now's their time to shine once more, just like they did with their release of We Happy Few many years ago. However, was taking on the American Deep South the right call, or should it have been something else entirely? Only one way to find out, so let's go! Gameplay. We're heading into really uncharted territory where companies don't usually take us, with Compulsion Games' American Deep South setting. It amazes me that we do not see more of this setting being utilized in gaming or even in film when there's such a ripe and rich history already here with the foundation to build upon, just as the amazing Princess and the Frog did back in 2009. Now here we are in 2025, only this time without a princess or a frog or warts. Because come on now, we're not like Jiraiya Sensei with frog jutsu. Rooting its tail in, as I said previously, in the American Deep South, you play as a spunky and feisty main character of Hazel Flood, whose trailer, along with her mom, gets swept away in a huge storm that takes their town by surprise. It is then up to Hazel to give chase down the river, through mysterious forests and swamplands, in order to find and save her mother and figure out all the mysteries that the storm possesses. Was it natural? Or was it the US government using their weather manipulation machine to further put their thumb on the American people to build their smart cities? Okay, clearly it's not that weird conspiracy theory, but I couldn't help myself. My brain is filled with brain rot after browsing X for a few hours, forgive me. The mysteries that unfold on this journey of Hazel's is both a mix of very creative ideas alongside mytho and folklore come to life that had me in delight most of the time due to the fact that this game reminds me very heavily of an Xbox 360 era type of game. This is a compliment because Xbox 360 had tons of titles that focused on art, fantasy, other aspects of creativity that is just not seen that much in the modern era of gaming that really wants to focus more on realism and down-to-earth settings. But not South of Midnight. It gives me a strong vibe of classic action platformers of titles from generations ago with its creative boss fights against giant alligators and giant talking fish that you can ride on, and it gave me a feeling of not only satisfaction playing it, but also a feeling of familiarity with titles that chose to embrace the silly, not realistic aspects for lore and folklore, much like Cameo did on 360 with its more cartoony-like presentation. Hazel herself, wielding a magical staff she comes across, is a weaver, a person who is gifted with magic to heal fractured ties by destroying malevolent spirits that plague the area of Prospero. In order to cleanse the land of this nastiness, like X-Lax cleansing your belly after a 4-day round of constipation, you must use your staff and powers gained by melee fighting against enemies, using powers to pull enemies towards you for combos, force push that sends enemies flying, jump and ground pound, freezing shot that stuns enemies momentarily so you can focus on a harder foe or gain the advantage elsewhere, and when an enemy is near death, run up to them and hold down trigger buttons to extract their life from them to gain EXP, or destroy the life of the main heart of the area, which clears the area of any threat and restores it back to normal, eliminating the plague itself. Movement is also a big part of the gameplay as well, as you move through each environment to absolute banger music as you double jump around areas, climb up vines and walls, combine double jumping along with a magical whip to shoot out an extension that pulls you from one obstacle to another, which makes situations extremely intense, especially during boss fights, and even intertwine that alongside proficient wall running as you either try to make your way to a new area or run frantically from a threat that will kill you in one hit should it touch you. It's extremely fun, and controls remain responsive and fluid throughout, unlike Gothic 1 Remake demo. Fun game, yes, but those controls. Like, come on, it's like the return of Bubsy 3D. What were they thinking? Tired of your sweaty thumb slipping off your controller during an intense gaming session with friends, family, or even solo play? Well, then you need some of the high-quality products from the folks at Control Freak. With easy-to-install no-slip thumb grips, it's as simple as a snap of the finger as your grip snaps on just like that. Oh, snap, one might say. No? Okay. With hundreds of products to choose from ranging from performance thumbsticks, no-slip grips, game-themed products from the hottest brands of Call of Duty, Halo, Elden Ring, Helldivers 2, and more, there's no end to the amount of fun awaiting at your literal fingertips. Whether you're a console gamer playing on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, or even amazing handhelds like Steam Deck and ROG Ally, you're all set and Control Freak has you covered. So up your precision, upgrade your aim, and enhance your movement with products such as Galaxy and Clutch Edition thumbsticks for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, or whatever else helps you level up your game. Follow the links below for all the awesome products that await you, and use special code GameNChick for an awesome discount at checkout. Not to be outdone by the gameplay aspects, South of Midnight excels in its breathtaking vista by having a marriage between art style creativity, authentic scenery from the Deep South, and implementing a frame rate for the cutscene animations that gives it a stop-motion-like movement with how its presentation is shown. If you know me, which you probably don't, then you know I absolutely adore the long-forgotten or ignored craft that is stop-motion. So anytime it's utilized or implemented, I will gush to the end of the earth about it. No apologies. Go watch Del Toro's Pinocchio, Wallace and Gromit, or the amazing Mad God film that took 30 years to make that is just a pure masterpiece in the stop-motion department. You won't regret it. Even further complementing the artistic style and its combat is the score for the game that weaves blues, jazz, and country into a southern bombastic tapestry that bolsters each scene it's in. Whether it's making a scene feel frantic and anxious-filled as you chase your trailer down the river in an apocalyptic storm, or a bard-like tune singing about the lore of Two-Toed Tom as you give chase. It's all just simply fantastic, and just nothing but banger after banger of music on this soundtrack. While combat might be fun like I stated previously by using Hazel's weaving powers to stun foes or even manipulate them using your little friend doll that comes to life named Crouton, I also feel a criticism that will come up that it might get a fair share of is that it's a little bit too tedious at times since, besides the variety that I mentioned, even with character update skill trees, the combat doesn't evolve too much from the given formula, and a majority of the fights themselves are subjected to confined areas that stick out like a sore thumb, letting you know where to go next. Think the trend of Sky Towers that Ubisoft started and you'll get the idea. An idea that's very, very overused. Another issue that might trickle down your enjoyment is the game's length, offering you a 9 to 10 hour long condensed story that just when it seems things are ramping up, it ends. Granted, I feel like not every game needs to be a 20 to 30 hour long epic, and a 10 hour long game that tackles human struggles, authentic presentation to the Deep South, and fun folklore exploration is more than enough to keep players satisfied. Still, I can see where criticisms can be had with its flaws, outside the positives that outshine them. Overall, at the end of the day, South of Midnight was a fantastic experience for me from start to finish, albeit a short one, sure, but a fun time nonetheless. Obviously, we have room for improvement, with combat at times feeling a bit repetitive due to how much you have to fight lesser enemies, not a very robust character skill tree that doesn't add much to your character upgrades, length of the game not being what people might expect in the modern era of gaming, etc. However, I feel that its positives, such as fun movement-based system of slinging and wall running, great environments to experience, exploration of the Deep South folklore that brings it to life in a creative fashion, grandiose level of music that stays authentic all throughout, all of this makes up for any negatives that someone might experience and keeps you immersed in the world and its characters at all times, even if its execution stumbles over its own feet at times. So with all that having been said, my verdict is clear. GameNChick says buy now! Or if you have Game Pass, the game is now playable on that platform as well.